Hey everybody, it's me, it's Undead Viking. I'm here to review a game that I'm pretty excited to tell you guys about, and girls for that matter. My apologies for not being all-inclusive. A lot of times people ask me like how many games I play. And I got asked that question at the Con of the North, the convention I was just at this past weekend. And I usually say, I don't know, 100, couple, something, you know. And I actually just, I decided I got home and I started actually like thinking about it. And rough estimate, in 2013, I played around, and this is like new games. I mean, not just like games that I've owned, you know, like I don't count Arkham Horror, you know, even though I played that several times in 2013. But I mean, it was almost 150. I'm guessing 150 new games. I mean, that's just, and that isn't just me like review copy games type things. That's just like me like going to different gaming conventions. That's me going to the tabletop nights my local game store holds. I have these other gaming groups that I game with, and they purchase games that I've never even heard of. And I've noticed that as I've gone on with the hobby, I haven't really kept up to date really with all the brand new big game releases and everything like that. I mean, so like sometimes these games come out of nowhere and just blindside me, and people are like, yeah, haven't you heard about that? People have been talking about that for months. I'm like, no, I haven't heard anything about this. This is a really cool game. But anyway, that's not a game I'm referring to right now, because I'm going to show you a game here in just a few minutes that is a game that I knew was coming out, and I was super excited about. There's everything about this game was exactly the type of game that hits on all cylinders for me. I recently was just talking to somebody on the phone. They were asking me what types of games I like, and I like pretty much can like any game. I mean, I'll give anything a shot. But if you want me to really like a game, or you want me to have a good chance of really liking a game, you know, I do stray towards, you know, the Ameritrash side of things. I like games that are highly thematic. I like games with bucket loads of dice. I like games with super awesome chrome and stuff like that. And I'm going to be doing this review of a game that hits that. But I mean, like the review I'm doing after that is like not. I mean, I'm going to be like reviewing a Euro, and I really enjoy Euro games as well. But anyway, what I'm getting at is the game that I'm reviewing right now is Myth. Okay, now a few of you, well, more than a few of you, saw that I had it on my shelf and behind it, and like this game is like almost on the cusp of coming out, and it's really super, super awesome and super cool that they were kind enough to send me a copy prior to release date. And so, you know, thank you very much, Brian, over at Myth Board Game at I think, well, the name of their company, it's like MegaCon Games, but they're also known by like Merc Miniatures and things like that. But anyway, they were really cool. Brian was really awesome, and he sent me this, and I've been able to play it now, and I played it with my gaming group several times, and we absolutely adore the game for so many reasons. And I'll go into those in more detail when I get to the conclusion. Just look at this box. This box is just awesome. You just see it and it just screams, look at these cool monsters and these people, and they're fighting them, and people yelling, and skulls, and there's this weird campfire over here. Who knows what's going on over there? And if you look at the back, there's all these things of all these miniatures and everything that you get in the game. And this is a game that's like super, super chromed out, and it's awesome. And like I've gotten games that are like super chromed out and awesome, and then I play them and I'm like, because the gameplay doesn't really excite me. And like this is a game that's right up my Descent alley, and Descent is a game I love. And this game is invariably going to be compared to Descent, and I'm going to do that when I get to the conclusion of this review. So let's just stop me talking and doing this introduction, and let's go right into how you play Myth. There's tons of stuff inside this box, and I don't think I'm going to be able to show you everything. But I'm definitely going to show you how combat works, and how like the darkness and how the bad stuff fights you, and how you fight the bad stuff, and how threat works, and all those wonderful cool little terms that you've probably heard 1,000 times. And then, like as always, we'll come back and we'll talk about why I really like this game, and then perhaps I'll convince you to spend your hard-earned cash so you can put it on your board game shelf when it finally does release, which should be like days, if not hours, maybe. I don't know. So it depends on when you watch this video. So all right, here we go. Myth, how to play. I am not going to try to tell you everything about the game of Myth, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on as far as preparing your quests and your stories and things like that. I mean, there's this deck here of these quest cards, and like if you want, you can set up your own quests and you can do your things, and you can see that there's these little chain marks up here, and so like you can chain different quests together to determine what you do. Some of them even actually tell you, like, depending on how well you do, you will then, like, okay, go ahead and do this. Did you succeed? Okay, you didn't. Okay, well then go ahead, find another quest card, go on and play that quest. And it tells you how to set it up and what you're going to face and things like that. In the actual rule book, there are more in-depth story quests and there's several of them, and there's scenarios that you can do and you can set up, and you'll see story quests, and then it actually gives you a map, and it tells you the plot of what happens, and as you can see, there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, you know, and so, and I mean, so there's also, like, it totally tells you how to make your own stories and what have you, and so you're able to kind of, you know, build this as you wish, if you will. Now, before I even step into the actual, like, how the basic mechanics, I'm going to show you the basic mechanics of fighting, because that's what you do in the game. You're fighting monsters. Obviously, a game that's this well produced, I have to show you the miniatures. I have to show you how awesome these things look. So I'm just going to take a few moments. I'm going to show you at least one of each of the things. So these are the player characters, and like here's the archer, and you can just, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time, but you can definitely see how well these miniatures are made and how they look. And this is the bandit, or like the thief character. You know, I've always thought the idea of a rat race, instead of like were-rats, but an actual rat race was cool. Back in my Warhammer 40k days, I had a pretty cool Skaven army back in the day, and so I've always kind of had a liking for them. In 3rd edition D&D, there was a system that actually had, like, the rats were like the really evil creatures, and like they're kind of like the orcs of the world. And I forget what they call that setting was, but okay. Here's the adept. This is the healer. They're like supposedly, like, they're blind. He's got a blindfold on, but he's got this big giant hammer. You know, and these are not, if you know what I'm talking about, these are fairly rigid plastic. They aren't like a lot of games that have, like, kind of the like springy moldable plastic. Like if you're familiar with Reaper Bones miniatures, I like those a lot. I paint those. You know, those are fairly moldable. That you can bend them back and forth. Nothing really bad happens. These, if I was to bend this guy's arm, it would break off. So you got to be kind of careful. But here's the apprentice. This is the mage. This is my favorite character to play. I really like him. Basically because they're crazy. And this is the cool soldier. One of my friends didn't like his hair, but I actually kind of dug the weird kind of Elvis hair, and the fact that he kind of actually looks like he's getting ready to swing a baseball bat. And I kind of like the action of these miniatures. Too many miniatures have people just kind of standing there and not really doing anything. But I like this whole look of these. So those are the good guys. Okay, see, and they're a lighter gray. Here I'm going to show you the 3 different sculpts for the like kind of orcs, goblin-y type people, and I definitely got a Warhammer feel from the look of these guys. I mean, they're not exact, but I mean, I dug the kind of like the compact, powerful look that these guys had, especially, like, you know, this guy with the big axe. and you can kind of see, you know, not wearing any armor, definitely a minion ready to die. Here we have cool guy with the spiked club. You know, good, you know, nice texture on the shield. I really like that. You know, just the facial expression on this one is just really well done. I really like that guy. And then here we have just this guy with the orc, like an orc choppa, as it's known, if you're familiar with the Warhammers things, and just fairly standard, but still, you know, really cool looking, you know, orc-like creature, if you will. All right, so then the goblins, actually I just took these guys off the board here, I'm going to be fighting them. The goblins have mini bosses, and I'm going to show you what these guys look like. You get 2 of these, and they're exactly the same, and these are way cool. I like the 2 weapons, the big spiked maul-like thing, big giant axe. I like the helmet, and, like, you know, you can barely see the eyes in there. And if you have the miniature, though, you can actually, if you look really carefully, and you probably can't see this, but there are eyes in there. It's that well detailed. I like the insignias on the little like belt buckle, if you will. You know, just tough looking. You know, even down to like the scraped up knee on the clothing, and you know, just really went the extra mile to make these things look nice. Here's a undead giant mini boss that you get. Very awesome miniature, very undead Viking-y, if you will. You know, once again, just well detailed. You know, just super awesome. And obviously, if you wanted to, you could use these for other miniature games as well too. But I really dig this guy. Super cool from top to bottom. And finally, there's like a race of skeletons, and this is the one, you get 1 boss with the game, and these are the boss characters. The skeletons the insects, you get the boss. So you have these little guys, and this is a very small distinction. I don't know why they did this, but you'll notice, like, this little bug creature has like those little things on the side of his head, and this guy doesn't. These are the ones that spit acid. So when you do an adventure with archers of these guys, you know, these are the ones that aren't. And I'm kind of, I guess, a little bit annoyed by that. Not horribly. I mean, you can definitely tell the difference, obviously, because of the arms, because these guys are the melee ones. You know, so it's not too tough, but I guess I wish, like, the spitters were bigger, you know, like much more pronounced, if you will. Just because, I mean, that's what they do. They're spitting acid. I wish they were, like, maybe, you know, something else. I don't know exactly what. I'm not a miniature or mold designer, so I can't really tell you what would be best there. But they get 2 captains. They get 2 of these big scorpion guys. And these are fairly straightforward, but still very cool miniature. I could definitely... giant scorpions are a great classic monster for any D&D campaign. So I could see myself painting this and using it for my D&D campaign that I play. And finally, the big monster that you get, the big boss monster. Way cool miniature. Giant centipede-esque... boss monster in charge of the insects. Super cool. You know, the eyes, the big giant pincers, the big giant arms coming out. Just looks imposing, especially when you, like, say, hold up. You know, here's the boss monster, and see how tiny he is compared to it. So really epic. I mean, just rah! I'm gonna eat you. You know, I mean, that's just a really cool way for the game to pop with that. So, I mean, there you go. I mean, that's obviously when you're playing a game like this. Merc Miniatures are known, obviously, for their miniatures, and so they definitely went the extra mile and made sure they made really good looking game pieces. Now, I'm going to show you how to play the game, and in my opinion, the gameplay backs up the miniatures quite well. So I'm not going to set up a quest. I'm not going to really do anything like that. Even though the quest part is kind of fun because you get to kind of just make it on the fly. You can just decide when you're playing, we're going to do these quests, and you just do those quests. You can just take a tile and place it on the table, and you can start with any size tile. I have a big giant 12 by 12 tile, and you get lots of these with the game. Here's like another big 12 by 12 tile, and if you wanted to, you could just start with like a smaller tile like this, and you could just say, okay, we're starting here, and like, you notice there's even like a little tavern on this one side, so you could just say that's where we're starting. And like, what happened? Maybe the tavern got some goblins burst in the door of the tavern. We fight, and we're gonna leave the tavern, and then we're going to, like, flip this over, and we're running around the street or something like that. And so, you can kind of just do it out. Now, what you can do is you can just flip over tiles, and you can populate them with monsters. And like, there's these on the bottom corner. There's this very nice legend that tells you exactly, like, if there's monsters there, if there's a monster lair there, if there's treasure there, or everything you want, traps, things like that. And then you can decide as a group what you want to fight. Do you want to put a monster lair on here and have to defeat that? Do you want this to be part of the quest? Do you want this to have wandering monsters on it? Do you want to have a trap? And so you just make up your mind. You can set up you can choose the quests that you want, like as possible quests that you could face. And then when you turn over a tile, that you can decide, are we going to turn over a quest deck? And so you decide to do that. And so you just turn one over, and then that's the quest you go on. So you don't even know which quest you're going to go on. It's up to you as the group what you want to face and what you want to do. Now, in this situation, what I've done is I've just taken both the soldier and the apprentice, basically the fighter and the wizard. And I have just set up this tile that's like a graveyard. I set up a monster lair, which is just a tile. I do know that they will have miniatures. I know that the Kickstarter people got to expand to like actual plastic lairs, but I do know they're going to sell those, or they're going to have those for sale separately if you so desire. And I've chosen the grubbers, which are basically the orcs or goblins or whatever. And for 2 people, we have 6 grubbers to start off with. And so I've just decided that the quest here is that they have to destroy this lair, because maybe they were told that some goblins working for a necromancer have moved in to the grubbers working for a necromancer or something have moved into this graveyard, and they're robbing graves, and so they're going out there to finish them off. And so you start off, you put the layer down, you put down the grubbers that you have, and then we put down our 2 intrepid heroes, and we're going to go in to that area. Now, to start off with, because these are just like first level, just starting out adventurers, we give them their basic equipment, because hopefully, they'll make some money and they'll be able to get better stuff after this adventure. And then we set up this board, and the board, this is a piece that you just slap in there so you can have the hero in there. The threat meter is very important, because the threat meter determines whether or not monsters come after you, because monsters, if you've played like MMOs and things like that, threat determines like how much the monsters hate you and want to kill you. And so the higher threat, the better. So like the soldier's job is to keep the threat up, because he can take the damage. Whereas other players, they're trying to keep their threat down. You have this status section here, so if something should happen to you, if you're cursed or you're frozen or things like that, you'll place those on there. And then you have these spots for your equipment. And so the starting equipment for the fighter is he gets an adventurer's gear as his armor, which adds 1 to his vitality. He gets this pot lid as his starting shield, and it gives him +1 threat, when we roll the special on the fate die, but we'll show that to you in just a little bit. And then he has a fireplace poker for a weapon. Not really epic right now, but he has a fireplace poker for a weapon, and if he gets his fate die in there, he reduces his threat by 1. And so that's what he's getting. And both of these add an extra D10 when he rolls the dice for his attacks, which is always good, because more dice means you can hit more things. And then and so we take this and we put the threat token off to the side, and then he has 6 vitality, but he has the armor, so we add 1 to that. And over here we have the apprentice. I'm not going to pick him up and show him to you, but same deal. He has the adventurer's gear, so he has +1 vitality. He's got his lucky cup as his item, his like armor item, kind of like, or his backup armor item, and that gives him an extra D10. And he has a enchanted twig, which, you know, basically a wand, and he actually has a range of 3. So if he can do an attack, he can attack at range with that one. And so we can, you know, start this off. They've entered here, and then we're going to begin. Now, both characters have this big hero deck, and it's, you know, big and thick. And they're going to draw cards out of the hero deck, and they're going to take those actions. Now, I've just put all the cards into the hero deck. Normally, you withdraw some of the higher power ones because you have to earn those as you gain in power. But I'm just doing it just so I can show you some different things. And so, if you have these, it'll just these cards. This is the obviously the soldier's deck. I'm just going to quick show you a few things that are very important. And it's iconography that takes a while to get used to, but once you do, the game is very easy to understand. So up here it tells you which class this belongs to. That's the soldier. Over here it's an attack. It does 1 damage. The range is dependent upon the weapon that you're using. Or shield, if you're going to use a shield for your weapon, because shields can be used obviously for shield bashes and things like that. And then this tells you their movement. Okay, now the movements, this is like the different types of movement and that you can do. And you'll notice that some of them, they'll tell you either yes, 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 yes. Some will give you, like, you get bonus fate die or things like that if you do it. This is if you're standing still, you can do the stack. If you only moved half your movement points, you can do that. If you move normal movement, you can do it. And if you moved extra movement, there's certain cards you can do that allow you to move more. Normally you only have 2 movement points in a round, but sometimes you can move further or do more. In which case that, you can, that would be like a faster movement on there. Some of them, like the Harvest of Bones attack, if he doesn't move, he gets added, you can see he gets added D10. If he moves half movement, he gets a fate die. And then down here, if you moved extra movement to do it, it's +1 to the target number. The target number is the number that you're looking to roll so your attack is successful. And so you can just kind of see that, he's got a couple of different things. He's got lots of different actions. And he's also got, notice this little symbol down here. That means this is an interrupt, meaning that it interrupts an action that, like, the bad guys are doing. Down here, this is considered an action. You can only do 1 action during any hero phase. And so, and then if there was an arrow on the bottom, I don't have any of those. It's a reaction. You can do as many reactions as you want and as many interrupts as you want, but you can only do 1 action. And when you take actions, you'll notice on the bottom of this, there's these action spots, and you notice there's only room for 4 of them. And so if you do all 4, that's all you can do. Now, one other thing that's really important before I actually start stepping in and showing the movement and everything like that, is that you'll notice there's this little bar down here. And this is the darkness meter, if you will. Like, doing this will cause your darkness meter to go up by 1. Let's see, here's one that moves the darkness meter up by 2. And so each time you do an action like that, you will raise the darkness meter, this meter here up to, and if it ever reaches 6, that means the darkness is activated. And then what happens is that the darkness gets to take a turn. The darkness is obviously the bad guys. And so when they go, the action kind of stops over here, and then the darkness gets to draw a darkness card, You see if you activate the creatures depending upon their threat range and what you've been doing to increasing your threat, and then they move and they attack, and maybe you'll spawn monsters and things like that, and you'll have like obviously like more combat. That's when you're going to take damage, and hopefully like the apprentice hasn't left himself out to dry, because obviously he's easier to hit, and maybe the soldiers moved ahead of him, hopefully things like that. It becomes a very tactical game. So here, let's just draw 5 cards for the apprentice. Just look at them really quick. The apprentice like has these things like, notice here's a reaction. This is something, one of these, and this is a good one too, because it's like ongoing. Allows heroes to reroll any 1d10 per hero cycle. So that's good. You can reroll a die. Another ongoing. Grants +2 d10 and +2 fate dice for all arcane attacks. So if he did that, he would, his attacks tend to be either arcane or elemental. Like here's an arcane lance, and like blasts one target with one attack, does 2 damage. And so on and so forth. And the Fingers of Aya, it's a really awesome spell. It allows you to like basically have a chain lightning. And you'll notice that this is kind of interesting. It says attacks 1 target, then jumps 2 squares away, hitting up to 1 target per ongoing effect cleared. Now you'll notice that like this is ongoing. You cast this, you leave it down there, it stays there until you get rid of it. Listen to another one. It's ongoing. And so when you cast that Fingers of Aya spell, what you do is if you want to affect more, you can take the ongoing spells that you've set up in your action that you've just kept running, and then you can actually do more damage. And so like you can see like these cards just aren't like one little one and done things. They're actually things you chain and build. I should mention also that like the healer has like a faith thing that they track, and like the more faith they have, the better they are. And like the bandit has all these stealth attacks that they do, and so they play cards to put themselves in stealth, and so that they and then obviously then they leap out of the shadows and they're able to do more damage. So the characters have a lot of thematic powers and abilities and cards, if you will, and it's something that adds a lot to the game. And I forgot to mention the other really cool thing about the soldier is that you have your deck of cards, and you don't really ever get to reshuffle your discard pile. Sometimes you can go into the discard pile and take a card out or something like that, but you don't get to reshuffle this. So like if you use them up, and I think you lose actually, or you die if that happens. I forget the exact rule, but so the warrior has a rage ability, and so like you notice in this attack, it says 1 attack and 1 target. Each rage adds +1 fate die. And so what he can do is he can play that, and he can take cards directly off the top of his deck without looking at them and place them face down in the other action spaces on his board, increasing his rage. And that like ups his rage quotient for his attack. And now that's a really cool idea, but obviously it's really helpful if you have like an attack that you really need to do well on, or you need to like add an extra boost or something. But obviously then you're using up cards and you don't know what cards you're using up. And so as the game progresses and you kind of build a deck for your adventure, because you're using these guys, you can play them over and over, and you can kind of build them up. You don't know which cards you're burying, if you will. And so it's a neat little thing that they made for the warrior. But anyway, so excuse me. They start off, and you kind of it's just like a cooperative game. You discuss, you decide what you're gonna do. Hey, it's like quick before you do anything else. Like one of the things you'll do is like, hey, before we do anything, he says, allow me. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do this. It's a reaction. I'm gonna do research, and I'm going to do that before I do anything. And so well, first you move, and so both of them are going to like move slowly forward. They're going to like get ready to perhaps attack or something as things get close. Now if you don't play any cards, you can reduce your threat, because each empty space you have down here reduces your threat by 1, and reducing threat's always a good idea. But if you don't do anything and don't put any cards down there, you're considered to be loitering. And what happens then is you actually, like, each board has a maximum amount of treasure it can give out. This one can give out 6, but anytime you loiter, you take away one of the treasure markers down there, and that's one less treasure that you can get while on this board. And so, you know, that's just something to keep in mind. So do that. I'm going to cast this. It's ongoing, and I'm going to make sure that you know, we don't have to worry about, you know, you get an extra D10, you know, basically a re-roll, if you will. And then he kind of looks at the rest of his cards, and you know, he could blast something with the Arcane Lance, but he's a little far away, and you know, but you know, there's really, you know, you can do another reaction, so he's going to do that as well. You know, so oh, and I forgot to mention that one actually increases the. I don't have a token out here for this, so I'll steal one of these. That's fine. So we'll go over here, and so that, you know, push the darkness up by 1, and so you notice when he gets to 6, that's when the bad thing happens. I don't want to use a treasure token for that. I want to use the actual correct token for it. So you place. Here, let's just go ahead and get that out. So from that one, we go up by 1, and so that action does that. And then this one, you notice, didn't have any marking down there, and so that one doesn't affect anything. See, there's that one marking down there. And so, and the one thing is that the kind of stinks is that if you get good cards in your hand, you can only save 1 when you go to the next round. So you have to discard down to 1 and then draw back up to 5. And so I'm looking here, and you know, unfortunately, it's just none of these, even though I got some good attacks. I mean, like Blood of Gaia does like a huge cone like that. The Arcane Lance will blast one with 1 damage. You know, that doesn't seem like it's doing anything, you know, and so, you know, we're not really seeing anything here, unfortunately, that allows me to attack any. But if we go over to the warrior, I think we're kind of in the same boat with him, because of the fact that, you know, he's just doesn't have the ability to, you know, even though he's got like this riding edge that allows him to move forward, you know, that's something he could do, but unfortunately, it just looks like we're going to have to wait our turn, and then we're going to go on to the next one. But the thing is, that's neat, is that even though you know, we probably won't have the darkness activate because of the fact if the grubbers, if you will, they have a threat range of 4, and nothing's within. We're not within 4. And we haven't generated any threat yet because we haven't actually hurt anything yet. And so, you know, we don't have, like, they won't activate and attack us. And one of the things about it is that if, especially on a spot with a lair, if one thing activates, everything will activate. So I'm just going to actually cheat here just a little bit. And I'm going to say that the warrior had this card in his hand. And notice it's a sprint, and it allows him to give +3 movement points. So we're going to do that. So he played that, and that increased the darkness by 1. And so he had +3 movement points. And so he'll go, you know, 1, 2, 3, and then he's going to do this. He's actually going to do the riding the edge attack. And so when he does riding the edge, he gets to move in a straight line, and then he did this, so he gets an extra plus D10 to his die, and it's an action. And so what he'll do is he'll just go straight over those 2 grubbers, like this. And he'll end up on the other side, which is fine. I mean, because he's the tough guy. So I mean, even though, and theoretically he's going to take out those 2, and so he's not any plus. You know, he can save maybe a good card for the next round, and then we'll go from there. So, but since he went over there, he gets an extra D10, and he gets to reroll 1 possibly. He gets a D10 to start with because he's a warrior. He gets an extra D10 for the fireplace smoker, and he gets an extra D10 for the pot lid. And because he moved, he's going to get 4 D10. And so what we look for is we're looking for a target number, in this case, to hit the grubbers. And you see the target number is a 5. And so we need to get a 5 to be able to hit them. And what will happen is we'll take, and we also get a fate die, because if we can roll the icon that represents the soldier, this angry raging eye, we will go ahead and we'll roll these and we'll see what happens. Alright, I didn't get my fate icon, but I easily got one. You only have to get one target number that hits one we're looking for. And so what's going to happen is that these guys have 1 hit point each, and the riding the edge does 1 damage, and he takes out both of them, but he gains threat at this point because of the fact that for every point of damage you do, you gain a threat. So we'll move his threat icon up to there, and now he's successfully attacked them. Now what's going to happen is that since we are done at this point, we will, he can go ahead and he can look and see if there's anything else that he wants to do. He doesn't have any reactions, so he can't do anything. And and I guess we get 2 more. I apologize. 2 more on the darkness track, like so. And so we're going to go ahead and check and see if we haven't used an action yet, but all these are still out of range. So the apprentice can't do anything either at this point. So we've done the actions that we're going to do, and now we're going to go ahead and look at what our options are right now. So the player running the apprentice now needs to look at their cards that they have. They have 2 ongoing cards. You can discard them if they want, but we want to hold on to those because we're going to hold on to Fingers of Aya, because this, if you get rid of it, allows you to hit more creatures. So you have to discard the rest of your cards, so we'll discard those, and you draw back up to your hand of 5, and you do that. And this is all in preparation for running we're going to check, we're going to activate monsters, and when you activate monsters, more often than not, that causes the darkness to activate as well. So, also, the interesting thing is, for each spot that isn't filled out, you actually get to reduce the threat of your characters. So, even though we gain 2 threat with the soldier, we're going to go ahead and reduce it by 2 because we have 2 spots open. And we're going to take these 2 cards, and then we're going to keep one of the cards, and we're going to keep Harvest of Bones because that's a pretty cool card. It allows you to attack a lot of creatures. We're going to get rid of the rest, then we're going to draw. And so now we've got more cards that we can use for attacks, and that is done. We've reduced our threat, and we're ready to go. Now the darkness, we'll look and we'll activate creatures. Well, we're right next to these guys. They're going to activate. That means that all the monsters activate that respond to the lair that spawned them, which is this lair here. And now these monsters, the grubbers, you'll notice that they are smart. They have intellect. Now, they might not be super smart, but they will make room for the other creatures. The insects will just move right to you and attack you. They won't make room. And so what will happen here is this guy is just going to stay there and not move, but they have a movement of 3. And so what actually they're going to do is he'll actually go 1, 2, 3 and kind of get around him, and he'll go 1, 2, 3 like that, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So all 4 of the grubbers get to kind of get around the soldier there, and they're going to get ready to attack. Now, we activated 4 creatures, and for every creature you activate, you actually increase the darkness. So that's going to go up to 6, and that's going to cause us to draw a darkness card. And this is most likely going to spawn some creatures and tell us something nasty that's going to happen. So we turn this over, and the first thing you do is an event. If there are less than 4 minions, Spawn a captain. Oh, thank goodness. We have 4 minions, so we don't spawn a captain. We don't have to worry about that just yet. Threat penalty. If anybody has like gotten threat up to 10, you invoke the threat penalty. Neither of us have done that at this point, but all players take ×2 damage for the rest, but that didn't happen. And so, activation, we'll start with the minions, captain, the mini-boss, and then boss. Well, we only have minions. And so, what we'll do is, we'll look, and they're going to just try to attack our poor, hapless warrior here, or soldier here. And so they get 1d10, they don't get a fate die, and if they manage to hit, they will do 1 point of damage. But strength in numbers, all grubbers gain -2 courage tests when they're 4+. Sometimes, I should mention, sometimes there are spells and abilities that people have that will cause the monsters to make a courage test. And also players will have to do that as well, just in order to be able to attack, due to like the fear that they instill. So, what we have here is we need to get a 7 or better to hit. And so each one gets 1 die. So we'll just roll all 4 dice all at once, and we'll see what we get here. And wow, I got 3 successes. What are the chances of that? That is not, well, incredible. I'm sure somebody with statistics will tell me exactly what the chances were. So I'm just going to see if we have any interrupts. You can have this, but it requires an I'll take that, so I can't do that. I'm drawing the IR, receive all, no, so that would be like for taking damage for somebody else that was meant for somebody else. So that kind of stinks, and that's not good. So we're going to reduce his vitality by 3 for taking all 3 points of those damage. And now the bad thing is that we go ahead and we look on here, and it's a spawn, and it's a normal spawn, so we see the minion card. And so we will go ahead and we will draw a minion card here. And, oh, that's not what I'm looking for. The minion card is here. And normal, 3 more grubbers. And so when you place them down, you have to place them, they want to be right next to the lair, if at all possible. So we'll go like here, here, and there. And so we've placed our new minions down, and our goal is to destroy the lair. And so, you know, we need to get to the lair and start doing damage to it. But you know, if we can't get close to it, you know, because of all the grubbers, that's going to be a problem, obviously. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look, and remember the hero's phase. So we go back to the hero phase now that we can take our actions and we can do our thing. But if you remember correctly, when you're doing the hero phase, is that everything that happens in the hero phase, it goes back and forth. Both players can, you know, just say, okay, let me do this, then you can do this. Let me do that, you know, and you can do that. There's no rhyme or set action, if you will, for these things to be set up. So the wizard or the apprentice really needs to, you know, come to the aid of his buddy, because he's going to get slaughtered pretty soon. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to play Hustle, so it gives him an extra 2 to his movement, and we're going to cast, we can't, if we're going to do that though, we can't cast Fingers of Aya, which kind of stinks, but you know, it's because it's, I should explain why, because if you notice in the bottom, if you hustle, you can't cast that one. And so we're going to go ahead and, wow, maybe we don't want to do hustle because that won't work. Maybe we'll just go ahead and, well, actually this is going to work. We're not going to play hustle because we can't, and we're going to use Finger of Aya, because Fingers of Aya has a range of 3 and it does 1 damage. So we're going to go ahead and play that, and the darkness reduced, you know, went back to nothing, but now this is going to go up to 2. And it says attacks one target, then jumps 2 squares away, hitting up to 1 target per ongoing effect cleared. So we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to get rid of these 2, and we're going to get rid of these ongoing effects. And we're going to see if we can kill 3 of these grubbers so we can open up some room for the warrior to be able to do something. And so the first one we're going to do is this one is 3 squares away. We're going to get that one. And this is when you start talking, you start comparing cards, and you start comparing what you can do. And the what the warrior is probably going to say is, you know, I have this ability, and I got to find the card now, of course. He has this card, this Harvest of Bones, and attacks all targets in a 90-degree arc. And if I use a rage, you can attack basically everything around him. And so if you look over here, you can kind of say, well, if he does that, you know, he could go like either here and do the attack, but if he just stayed right there, he could get like all 3 of these, or he could get all 3 of those. And so you kind of tell so yeah, go ahead and get this guy, but then maybe jump to him, and you know, and then maybe jump over here. And that one's not going to work. But I mean, so you can kind of say, well, you maybe only kill 2 then, because you're so kill him, and then jump 2 to here, and leave one of your ongoing effects. Like leave that one that gives you the extra thing for the Reservoir of the Ancients. You know, so we can keep that in case we do an arcane attack. And so we're just going to kill 2 with the mage. So let's do that then. So we have 1 damage, range of 3, and we got rid of an ongoing effect, and so we're going to hop over. And so once again, we take our dice. You get 1 for the guy. He gets another 1 for the enchanted twig, and he gets another 1 for his lucky cup. And because he just moved normal, he has +1 to his target number. If he had kind of moved slower, he would have had an easier time to hit. But you know, this is a situation where you know, he needed to get into place so he can actually start doing some damage. So we're going to go ahead, and what we're looking for is 1 die over 6. Oh, we got 2 of them over 6, so easy. So we're going to kill him with the Fingers of Aya. It's going to jump 2, and it's going to kill that one as well. So bam, we kill those 2. And we're going to increase our threat by 2 for casting that. And so then we've done that. Now it's the warrior's turn to like sit there and say, well, what am I going to do? And he's going to do Harvest of Bones. And remember, it's that. Now this is where the rage deck comes in, because he's going to use up one of his rage cards that he doesn't know about. He's just going to put it there face down. We have no idea what he just got rid of, but he's going to be able. He isn't moving, and so because he isn't moving, he gets an extra D10. And so he's going to once again have 4 dice, and all he's got to do is get 1 over 5, and then he's going to kill all 3 of those. Well, I got 3 that are over 5. I didn't get my fate die, so I don't get to do anything like that. But I can go ahead and take out all 3 of those. Now, 2 things happen that's really cool. First of all, I go up to 3 fate dice like that, and so I'm like, okay, well. Okay, you know, I'm at 3 threat. I'm sorry. So now I'm you know, I've got to maybe possibly worry about being threat. But having the most threat isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. But you know, I got to make sure that, you know, he lost 3 health. He's down. He's been hurt. So we got to kind of bide our time. But he did kill 3 creatures, and so because he killed 3 creatures. He gets to, and so they kind of went like 1, 2, 3. Oops. I get to drop a treasure, because anytime you kill 3 minions, you get to drop a treasure on the board. And so that's something that you can use a movement point to pick that up, and that can be something good. Now, what happens normally when you pick up a treasure is you have a treasure cup with these tokens in it. And I just threw all of them in here. Normally there wouldn't be any like blue in there, and like, because those are like the rare treasures. And then what will happen is if you take a treasure, you reach into the cup, you draw one, and then you'll draw out of the corresponding deck. And so, like, here are the super awesome blue, things, Leather of the Lightless, Veil of the Red Hand, cool, magical items. But, green ones are, like, Longsword, or the Ring of Kings, draw 2 treasure tokens and keep 1 when picking up treasure. Here we have the +1 movement points to Cautious Move, the Mythical Cloak, things like that. So Cautious Move is the move that is half. So that's that. And then if you get just normal white one, then you start getting like gold. And there's also some potions and things in here as well. Let me see if I can track one down here. Which is never a bad thing, because if he picks that up and he gets a potion, so like, yeah, anti-venom potion, a vitality potion, so a healing potion basically. So I mean, you'll draw, depending on what you draw out of there, you get to draw for one of these decks. So there's that. So at this point, I don't have any good after that one big attack. I don't have any reactions. That I can be only one. So we've done that. I gotta check the mage here. Or, I'm sorry, the apprentice. I always call them wizards or fighters, or whatever. And so we're done there as well. And so we go through the setup phase. We get to reduce our threat, because once again, see, it isn't full. We get to go ahead and reduce his threat by 2. We take the rage and just automatically discard it. Discard that one as well. And so we'll draw more cards. And you can kind of now see the flow of how this works. So then we activate the minions that are still left. And the nice thing about this is that because the fact that is sometimes when in certain darkness cycles, because of the fact that, oh shoot, I forgot that one, put it up too. So this is going to happen. So like sometimes though, like if you don't, when you get to the darkness cycle, if like you don't activate the darkness, you get to skip it and you get to go right on to the next one. No monsters happen. But unfortunately, these guys are going to activate. That's going to cause the darkness to hit again. And then we're going to draw a card, and we'll see. It's like. So you'd go through this whole process. So you treat the threat penalty count as level 8 is the event, and so on and so forth. And so these things obviously like build up, and there's an ebb and flow depending on the cards. And and there should have been more in here. There's like wandering monsters that are like should have been in here as well. I just kind of made this to be a more simple map, just so I can kind of show you exactly how it works. But I hope that gives you a good grasp of what exactly happens when you're playing the game, and how the attacks work and how it is. And actually, I don't even think I'm supposed to use that's like a treasure hoard token. Actually, you just take that right off there. You put it right there, and see, then you can grab that treasure. Oops, I used the wrong token. But there's tons of stuff that comes with the game that like allows you to kind of modify things and change things up. You get tons of little tokens that have different icons on them. You just that represent treasure or NPCs you may be facing, and all these other cool things that. And the sky's the limit. I mean, there definitely are rules and for different like for the different quests and things like that. For NPCs you have to save, or NPCs that allies you get to take with you that'll help you fight. And those are really expand upon the game. But the thing is that we've actually like come up with our own adventures and things like that, and we've designed our own things just to kind of test things out and see what it is. And that's why where this game is kind of open and free form instead of being structured. And it's not that like a structured game is bad. I mean, but I was really really pleased with the openness and the open form that this game was able to give us. I'm a dungeon master at heart, and so having a board game that just kind of gives me that nice rule set and then just says, hey, go see what you can make out of this, really appealed to me. But I'm kind of getting into my conclusion. So why don't I just take a break from doing this and showing you how to play the game, and I'll tell you exactly what I think of Myth. No, I showed you all the miniatures and everything like that, and some of you may have actually spied the fact that, and maybe you didn't, who knows, but the very bottom of my my apprentice here, the spellcaster, who apparently is into ballet, but I shouldn't make fun of him because this is my favorite character to play in the game. But anyway, you'll notice that like he might notice there's some glue and stuff on the bottom of his foot, because when I got this guy, he was unfortunately broken off. But I talked to Brian at MegaCon and Miniature Games or whatever, and they're going to be sending me a new one. But not that it matters, who cares? I was able to glue them on. I used to do a lot of miniature stuff when I was younger. I used to paint them and everything like that. And I do paint miniatures when I have time. Lately my daughter has gotten into more like extracurricular things. She's in first grade and she's like in 3 extracurricular things that I need to drive her around town to all week. And so I haven't really had a lot of time. But when I do find like, 15, 20 minutes here and there, I like to sit down at my desk, my painter's desk, and I like to paint these suckers. And I think due to the fact that these miniatures are so awesome looking, I think I might have to finally really knuckle down and like paint a full set. I might have to go out and buy battle foam and all that other cool stuff so I can keep everything pristine for when I play this game. But anyway, regardless, so but yeah, and like that just goes to show like what a cool company this is. Because I mean, I talked to Brian on the phone. I was like, we were talking about the game, and I had some rules questions. This is a week or so ago, and I just happened to mention, yeah, I think my one thing broke, and he's like, oh, I'll send you a new one, just like that. So great support from the company. But anyway, regardless, okay, so there you go. I've shown you how to play Myth. I hope you caught on pretty well. The game isn't all that difficult, really, to play. Once you kind of get into the swing of things, of taking your actions and everybody doing it and getting used to the card play of each individual character, it really does feel like a very smooth running game, I guess, is what I'm getting at. What do I like about it? Well, obviously, if you've watched my reviews, you know that I'm a big role-playing gamer at heart. I've been playing D&D since I was like 8 years old. And so I love games that try to put you in that fantasy setting, put you in that dungeon, put you on that adventure, and try to present it. Now, I know there's like a school of thought, and definitely within my game group there is also, it's present, is that if we're going to play a game like this, why wouldn't we just play Dungeons and Dragons? But the thing is that games like this kind of satisfy a need, if you will. Much like Descent satisfies need. Sometimes I don't want to have to worry about the story and the fluff and whether Baron von Archibald is secretly conspiring against the players in the court intrigues. Sometimes I just wanted to go into a dungeon and bash on some ogres and take their stuff, and that's what this game will do for you when you play it. Now, the whole process of the game really kind of confounded me at first, and because of the fact that I think I went into it thinking, okay, well, here we go, we got this game. It doesn't have an overlord like Descent, but it's very Descent-like. It's got the tiles, and it's got everything that sets up, and where you move, and where you go, and you have these actions that you do, and you roll some dice, and you do damage, and so on and so forth. And then I got it, and I opened it up, and I started kind of pouring through it, and I was just like, well, where's the structure? And where's the path? Why isn't this game telling me what to do? And slowly but surely, and after a conversation with Brian, the designer, I came to realize that this game isn't that. This game is more of like a free-form game. It's more of a role-playing game, actually, which really excited me once I kind of clued in. This is a game where you and your friends, if you don't have a dungeon master, you can take it and you can say, what should we do today? What should we take our characters and do today? And we should let's fight a bunch of goblins and set up a dungeon that we're going to go into, and we're going to have to get to the end and get this treasure. Okay, cool. Get out those quest cards. Find some quests that we can do along the way that will include those goblins. We can use those. And you go through all those, and you find those quest cards, and then you play those, and you play out a quest. If you say, let's play an actual storyline, there's those storyline quests in there. And then people actually might like those more because they're a lot more structured, and they're a lot more like, hey, you go here, and this is what you have to do here, then you go here, and this is what you do here, and then you end up here, and then it follows this little path. But there's nothing stopping you from just saying, heck with it. I just want to fight the giant centipede monster. That's what I want to play. That's what I want to do. I want to fight just endless waves upon waves of monsters and see how long that can last. Then you can go ahead and do that. Whereas a game like Descent, and this is not a knock on Descent because I really like the game, whereas a game like Descent actually tells you this is what your adventure is. And this is what the monsters will do, and this is where you put them, and this is what you do, and that's how they run. In this game, it's just kind of like it was like a weird kind of stumbling block for me to realize that the game was just saying, go ahead, it's a sandbox, do what you want. We'll be over here waiting for you to get done, and then you're gonna have a good time. And that's exactly what Myth does. It's such a weird departure from a lot of different, like pretty much any other board game that you play. I mean, every other board game just kind of sets up the world that you're in, and then you play it, and then they say, here are these rules, and this is what happens, this is how many rounds it lasts. And Myth doesn't do that. It just says, here's this really cool bunch of mechanics. Now you create something. You play it how you want to. And I realized that there's like, and I actually, this is really interesting. I mentioned to Brian, I was like, well, you have these story quests in there. And he said they actually wrestled with the idea of actually including those in the game. And then they finally realized that there was going to be a group of people, a group of players, that are going to want that. They're going to want those story quests that to play. They're going to want to play something that is structured for them. And there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, and it's cool that they recognize that as part of their audience. So now, somebody like me, who just wants to have a fun little skirmish and a battle and set up 2 or 3 tiles and just go for it, can play the game how I want to. And the people that say, nah, I need a reason, I need a theme, I need a goal, they can play the exact same game. So, you know, I already showed you how to play the game, so you know I think the game is cool. I love all of the card play. I love the fact that each of the players, each of the characters in the party, they each have their like strengths and weaknesses and what they can do. You start learning the cards that you have, and you start learning the like what kind of things you should wait for, and you have the wonderful threat mechanic where you have to decide, you know, because this guy, my favorite, the mage, he can get threat. You can get tons of threat really fast because he has all these magic spells that can affect 4, 5, 6 creatures at once, and since they're all like minions, you can blow them all up, and all of a sudden the rest of the map, all the evil guys see and they focus in on you, and he isn't tough enough to sit there and take the damage. He's gonna get swarmed, and so then you're running back and you're hiding behind the soldier and letting him try to take over for you, and things like that. And each one of those characters just kind of, you know, works and complements each other back and forth. And you know, like a friend of mine loves playing the healer, the monk guy. You know, and just because of the fact that, you know, like they have both you know, a fairly even-handed player, you know, as far as you know, being able to you know, be like the heel suck of the party or whatever, but also being able to deal out some damage pretty well too. And I have another friend who really loves playing the little rat guy, the rogue, you know, that, you know, he's able to you know, the whole process of him wanting to stay in the shadows and you know, and because then he can just all of a sudden just do a ton of damage, you know, all at once if he can just, you know, pull off the right card combinations. And that's kind of what it is. I mean, the game kind of teaches you how to use those cards to complement each other. It teaches you how to complement the other players and what they're doing. And it's like, and then it actually feels like you're being a team and running a player character party in an adventure, you know, and so there's a lot to be said for that. Now, this is never going to take the place of a role-playing game for me, because there's too much more in a game of D&D or Pathfinder or whatever it is you decide to play, just because of character development and the history of the world and the background and everything else that goes on. There's no way it's going to take place. But if you're looking for a game where everybody can play a player character and have the game kind of run the bad guys for you, and then you get to try to, you know, combat that to the best of your ability, this is an awesome game, and this is something you should definitely look at picking up. If you're playing Descent and one guy just doesn't want to be the Overlord anymore, and you're having trouble finding somebody to play that Overlord player, this is a game you want to pick up and play. You know, and really the sky is the absolute limit with this game. I mean, they can pump out tons more miniatures, tons more bosses, tons more monsters. I can see them coming out with a book of adventures. I can see them coming out with decks and decks of cards and expansions, and like when you're, you know, for things with high level characters and all kinds of things. And I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do with this game going forward. But I mean, now I've played this game about half a dozen times or so, and you know, it's like there's still a lot of game left in this box for me to enjoy. And so I'm not like running out of things to play by any means. So, you know, there you go. I mean, I like I said, I'm really looking forward to the future of the game, but the game I have right now is still pretty damn awesome. So, and it looks awesome, obviously. A lot of times there's games that look really awesome, but the gameplay is eh. And a lot of times I'll have a game that's, the gameplay is wow, and it looks eh. But this is a game that is just looks awesome and plays as awesome as it is. So, I can't recommend this game enough. If you like cooperative games and you like fantasy themes, you should have pre-ordered this already, in my opinion. Hopefully, if you're on the fence, I've convinced you at this point that this is a game that you want to add to your collection. So, if you have any questions or concerns or ideas or what have you, post those and I will answer those to the best of my ability. Okay, until next time, this was Undead Viking in my gaming dojo in Moorhead, Minnesota, and I am wishing you to have an awesome day today. All right? Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.